Have you ever wondered what it is like to take a Viking Ocean cruise? Well, we sure did. Like many of you, we had heard great things about Viking's river cruises, but we were curious what it looked like on board one of their ocean liners, especially on a long repositioning cruise across the Pacific.
In this video, we're sharing our full experience taking a 23-day cruise from Tokyo to Vancouver with 11 port stops and a route that sailed through the rugged beauty of Alaska. Now, it wasn't cheap, but we're going to tell you what we really thought, what wowed us, what didn't, and whether we felt it was worth the price.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you're just finding us, we are an American senior travel couple who are on the adventure of our lives. We're traveling China, Japan, and South Korea on this leg, so hit subscribe and follow along on our little travel log. We are a few weeks ahead of our videos, so if you're wondering where we are in the world, we keep our Instagram updated to our current location, so follow us there. If you've been following along, you know that we just wrapped up a few incredible months traveling through China, Japan, and South Korea. Our original plan was to fly home until we spotted this Viking Ocean itinerary. It offered three things we couldn't ignore: transportation back to the U.S., a bucket list Alaska cruise that we hadn't yet tackled, and 22 nights of food, lodging, and floating views. For full-time travelers like us, it seemed like a no-brainer.
As of August 2025, Viking operates 10 ocean ships, not to be confused with their river or expedition vessels. Now, these ships are nearly identical, each carrying around 930 passengers and built with adults in mind. In fact, they don't allow children under 18, which makes for a very different onboard vibe. Think Scandinavian design, calm music, no casinos, and an emphasis on learning and culture. Every stateroom has a veranda, and your cruise fare includes Wi-Fi, wine and beer with meals, access to the spa, and at least one included excursion in every port.
Now, since we are full-time travelers, we tend to book the cheapest cabin that we can find. We've stayed in plenty of inside rooms with no windows because for us, it's more about the experiences ashore than the stateroom views. But Viking only offers veranda staterooms, so we had a balcony whether we wanted one or not. It was definitely nice to step outside for whale watching or photos. But truthfully, it was often too cold in Alaska to spend much time out there. So while the balcony was a luxury, it wasn't one that we made full use of.
Now, our room was lovely, and yes, the heated bathroom floor rumors are true. It felt downright indulgent. Another perk, each floor has a complimentary self-service laundry room. We showed up with a backpack full of dirty clothes and left with everything freshly laundered, a first for us on a cruise.
The ship itself, absolutely stunning. Viking leans hard into its Nordic roots, and the entire vessel is a showcase of clean lines, soft textures, natural wood tones, and thoughtful lighting. It's easily one of the most beautifully designed ships we've ever sailed. We especially loved the Winter Garden, a serene space beside the main pool where afternoon tea is served daily. The room has glass doors that can open or close depending on the weather, and a retractable roof above the pool turns the area into a cozy solarium during rain or chilly Alaskan breezes. It was the perfect place to stretch out on a lounger with a book or a warm drink.
One thing we noticed right away was the furniture layout. Viking has clearly designed their ships for connection. There are cozy clusters of sofas and armchairs everywhere, set up in conversation-friendly nooks and circles. It felt like the perfect ship for traveling with friends or for making new ones over a shared love of adventure and fine wine.
And speaking of books, the ship's libraries are wonderful. Real books, thoughtfully chosen, no dusty encyclopedias from 1987. The bookshelves were open and inviting, filled with travel memoirs, novels, and guides. We often found ourselves pulling one down to plan our next stop or just enjoy a quiet afternoon read. It's a small detail, but it made a big impression.
One of our favorite aspects of the Viking Ocean cruises is the grown-up atmosphere. designed intentionally for mature travelers. No kids, no gimmicks, no theme nights. Instead, you get engaging speaker series, enrichment programs, classical music performances, and quiet corners to enjoy it all. One of the highlights, the Explorer's Dome, a full functioning planetarium on board. We sat in on a talk led by a visiting astronomer, and it felt like we had time traveled back to the high school science class in the best way.
And here's something that surprised us. The Wi-Fi actually worked. As content creators, this is a big deal for us. We were able to upload, check emails, video call with family, and run our digital lives, all on the ship's standard included plan. We didn't even need to upgrade. Honestly, it's the first time we've ever had that on a ship.
There were many wonderful spots on the ship, but our hands-down favorite place to hang out was the Explorer's Lounge. Located above the bow, it offered panoramic views, massive windows, a light lunch bar, and often featured live music that leaned pretty heavily into James Taylor and Jim Croce, much to our delight.
Take me home, country roads. Take me home, country roads.
Let's talk about the spa. Viking's Live Nordic Spa is not your average cruise ship hot tub situation. This place is a wellness wonderland, and the best part, it's complimentary. We soaked in the steamy thalassotherapy pool, sweated out our sins in the aromatic steam room, and dared each other into the snow grotto, a frosty little chamber filled with real snow that left us feeling oddly refreshed and possibly 5 years younger. If you're in the mood to splurge, the spa also offers massages and treatments that looked downright heavenly.
There are 2 pools on board, both whisper quiet and grown-up serene. Since it was Alaska, we didn't spend much time in the aft infinity pool. It was beautiful, yes, but a bit breezy. The main pool, though, covered by a retractable roof and surrounded by loungers that never seemed to be claimed. It was our go-to for a sunny moment and a poolside lunch.
Speaking of which, on sea days, Viking occasionally rolled out the culinary red carpet with grand-themed lunches near the pool. These feasts were festive, photogenic, and downright delicious. We're talking seafood spreads, international flavors, and desserts that made you consider skipping dinner. Now, here's a spoiler. We never actually did that.
We never skip. We don't skip meals too often. Entertainment-wise, Viking keeps things classy. You won't find Broadway-style shows or karaoke battles, but what you will find are intimate musical performances, thoughtful guest lectures, and evenings filled with piano music and stargazing under a quiet dome. It's exactly what you'd hope for on a ship designed for curious, culture-loving grown-ups.
And here's something we noticed quickly. Almost everyone we met had cruised with Viking before. This wasn't their first go-around or even their third. We chatted with people on their 5th, 6th, or even 9th voyage. There's something deeply comforting about that kind of loyalty. It tells you that this brand is doing something right, offering elegance without pressure, clarity without fine print, and a travel experience that feels like it was designed just for you.
As for the food, the Viking Orion offers 2 specialty restaurants, Manfredi's Italian and the Chef's Table, and 2 included dining venues, the restaurant and the World Cafe. All 4 delivered excellent meals and great service. If you're wondering if we thought this cruise was worth the hefty price tag we paid, well, not so much. We paid about $7,500 each. For us, we took this cruise for a variety of reasons. First, we needed a ride back to the States after spending several months in Asia, and if we had simply flown, we'd probably have booked a business class flight given the length. We also had never taken a cruise to Alaska, so considering that this included 22 nights on board with food, it felt reasonable compared to doing all those other things separately.
However, our thoughts on whether the Viking Ocean is worth it overall, only if you have a very big pocketbook, which many people do. Now for us, we'd give it a not so much. Yes, it's a smallish ship experience, but in our minds, there are better values for the same size category. For example, we've taken 2 Oceania cruises, one in the South Pacific and one in the western coast of Africa, and we felt we got nearly the same experience for less. Certainly, Viking has a better, more plush ship, but that's where the differences lie. Oceania is lovely too, and the food and entertainment were no different.
Now, we don't like to nitpick, but we do need to talk about the soda situation. You couldn't get a Diet Coke outside of the dining room without paying extra. Fancy coffees? No problem. But a basic bubbly beverage at the pool bar? Not included. On a cruise ship at this price point, that just felt a little off. We've sailed with Oceania where sodas were always included, and grabbing a cold drink by the pool didn't require mental math or a room charge. It's a small thing, but when you're used to a certain fizz-on-demand lifestyle, it's hard to go back.
Now, don't get us wrong, Viking was fantastic in every way, but the price was steep. Now, they tout included excursions as the main differentiator, but we didn't have the best experience with those.
As much as we adored the serenity of life on board, we were also eager to explore each port, and Viking includes a free excursion at every stop.
We felt the included excursion lacked a lot. Yes, our guide was nice and informative, but one of the major points that Viking makes when you book is that excursions are included. We felt that their offerings were simply the obligatory city tour or a ride into town, not so much an excursion that you would expect if you were paying for it. This is our only big complaint about Viking. If you want to do the fun stuff, you have to pay extra, and those excursions are expensive.
The truth is that Viking needs to step up their game or stop advertising free included excursions as if you're going to be able to do something really exciting. We think if your goal is to ride a bus around a city and hear a guide tell you some things, you'll be happy, but there's so much more that they could do.
Now, if you're considering a cruise and want calm over chaos, elegance over extravagance, and a place where you can learn, lounge, and maybe even dance barefooted on a heated bathroom, the Viking Orion might be your ship. It was wonderful, but as for the cost, like we said earlier, it wasn't necessarily a bargain, certainly not for full-time travelers like us.
Be sure to let us know in the comments what you think and tell us if you've sailed Viking or if it's on your bucket list.
We'll see you next time.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.